Hey YouTube, this is Tom from TM Aquariums. Hey, in a recent video about this 120 gallon tank, I had mentioned that I had previously kept discus and that after a tank failure, I ended up getting rid of discus and went with the blue acaras and the red severums. And I had mentioned that I had kind of grown tired of the discus just due to all the maintenance, the 50% daily water changes and so forth, and that you know, oddly enough, when I got this 120 gallon replaced, I actually set it up with an automatic water change system, because even though I don't keep discus anymore, just doing the water changes on this tank when it's not in the same room as my my slop sink or my RO reservoir, it was just too much work, and I'm all about making the hobby easier right now. So I mentioned I was going to show how I did the water change system, and I think this is a water change system that would work for basically everybody. It's not a high-tech, you know, real elaborate water change system. It's very simple and very easy and very straightforward, but it does require one thing. It does require that you have a sump. So let me show you how I set this up. And again, I'm sure lots of people have done this before, so this is nothing really new and innovative. It just happens to be new for me, and let me show you how everything's kind of patched together. So down here under my 120, I've got a sump system going, and sorry I don't have real bright lighting down there, but it's about, you know, the sump has a capacity of about 40 gallons. I run 2 overflow boxes on this tank, and I have 2 of the overflow tubes coming down into my tower. I have a 3rd overflow tube coming down into a 100 micron filter sock. Water comes down through those 3 tubes from the overflows. One goes through the bio chamber, a series of foam filters and filter media. The other one goes through the filter sock. Those pass through to this side of the sump, where I have one heater over there. I've got another over here. Extra biological material to help me seed new aquariums. Then they go through a final foam filter here, and then into my final stage where I have my return pump. And what I did is I drilled a hole in my sump back here, and I put it at a level that keeps my pump safely submerged, and it allows me more than enough capacity that if I lose power, the back siphon that I get on my overflows poses no risk to flooding. Now on my overflows, I do have some holes. You can see where the water's shooting out up right, those little streams right there. Well, the bulk of the water is coming out of the main jets here, but I have little holes at water level drilled so that if I do have a power outage, the air is going to break the back siphon, but it still back siphons enough to where it's probably adding about 5 gallons of water to the system. And as you can see, I only run it about half full. So I have more than enough capacity left in case of a back siphon. But so anyways, that's where I have the drain drilled, and just a standard what was that, a 1-inch bulkhead I used, or 1.5-inch bulkhead, and then I've got PVC hooked up in the back there. We'll take you over the other side, and unfortunately this is the part that my wife doesn't care for, because she sees these tubes here. You know, I tried to blend them in and paint them the same color of the wall, but I'm going to put some type of board or dressing over those so you can't see that. So anyways, this is the drain here. This is just a little piece of, I don't know, cord hider for cable management. I've got some category 6 line and speaker wires running through that. That was already there. And then this is actually the freshwater return. Looking back here, you can see this is the drain right here. That comes down and drains through here, goes into my storage room, into my floor drain. And here's the fresh, clean water coming back into the tank. Let me move that. And that comes back in this nozzle right here. This little one right there. So that'll blow fresh water into the tank. So let me take you back to my storage room where I have my reservoir and my return pump. So back in my storage room, this is where I've got my reservoir. I'd like to replace this and get something that has a lot more capacity. It's just a brute, I think it's 44 gallon, I think. Yeah, I think it's 44, yep, 44 gallon. I've got my RO water coming in. I've got it on a float valve. Had to tie a little spice bottle on there because the original float valve started leaking. Not sure, I might have developed like a micro crack, but over the years it's kind of filled up with water. I've got a real small pump in there. That's an Aquarium. That's one of the smallest ones they have. I forget which model it is, but it only pumps like 250 or 300 gallons per hour maximum at 0 head. And I went with the small pump intentionally because I'm not here most of the time when the tank is doing the water change. And the overflow boxes that I have probably have an additional capacity of about another 250 gallons per hour. I don't have those overflows running at full maximum capacity because my pump that I have is not capable of that. So I think safely an additional 250 gallons per hour those things could handle. This here, like I said, has a maximum of 250 or 300 gallons at 0 head. And then I actually have it dialed down because this has an adjustable output on it. So I figured, just based on the timer and the capacity of the sump, or the reservoir, it's pumping about 100 gallons per hour to maybe 125 gallons per hour into the tank. So it's pumping water into the tank while the tank is still running. The additional water goes through that drain on the sump, comes through this wall. My aquarium sits outside that wall in my rec room. And that drain overflow drain comes back here, and it's zip tied down to my floor drain here. So the bad water's coming out here, the good water's coming out here and going back into the tank. I have it set up on a timer, kind of just jerry-rigged this timer real quick, but this timer is real heavy duty, works great. And let's see, I've got it set on auto, but I do daily water changes at 1 o'clock. Well, this is for Saturday. It runs for 20 minutes on Saturday from 1 o'clock to 1:20. And then Monday through Friday it comes on at 1 o'clock and it goes for 2 minutes. And the reason for that is I just want to top that sump off and make sure that it's running at capacity to account for any evaporation and just to add a little bit of fresh water each day for the tank. My RO system again is over here, and right now I'm not running any de-ionizing resins, just sediment filter, carbon block, and two RO membranes. So, but that is my automatic water change system on the tank. So nothing too high tech, nothing too sophisticated, pretty simple and straightforward. If you've been considering putting an auto water change system on your aquarium, hopefully I've been able to give you a couple of ideas, or at least get you thinking in the right direction. I do want to clarify though, I know I was calling these overflows throughout the video. Those are return nozzles. To avoid confusion, those boxes back there are my overflows. Those are my return nozzles. My apologies. But anyways folks, I know this water change system has made a world of difference for me. Again, I can change 80 to 90 gallons a day, and the best part about it is I don't touch a single drop of water. The fish are healthy, the fish are happy, and the fish keeper is extremely happy. But anyways, I appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd be honored if you'd consider doing so. And until the next video, folks, we'll catch you later.